Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are not far removed from Celtic's massive win at Easter Road last night, and despite it being a massive win for Celtic, it doesn't take away from the fact we weren't exactly great last night. If anything, we got quite lucky. So there's a lot of fallout to talk about, the aftermath, the dust is now settling, but we can't keep going on like that from now until the end of the season. So we're going to talk about things and kind of more of a rougher take of a video today. I don't really know how to approach things, but we're going to try anyway. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. We're trying to get to as close to 50,000 subscribers as we can this year. So go down below and do that. Also, you will be thinking to yourself, Ryan, where's the podcast? It's Thursday. Where's the Celtic the Thunder? Well, sadly, this week there will be no Celtic the Thunder. I know it's been quite inconsistent this season. Sadly, we're all going to see a comedy show tonight. We're away, me, Callum, Kieran, so there's nobody to film tonight apart from McGinley, if we left it to him himself. So we can't get in, and we were going to try and get there today, and it's just kind of fell apart last minute. So that's why I'm here today, and that's why I said it's going to be a bit of a rougher take video. I don't really know what direction to go in. I always find that the day after a game is the hardest because, you know, opinions are flying and the dust is settling. Let's see where we go, shall we? Well, last night was a hard watch, wasn't it? If you haven't seen my match reaction video, make sure and check that out. It went up quite late last night, so you can go and watch that for my full breakdown on the game. But it's as simple as this. We can't keep playing the way we're playing at the minute. And I'm one of the fans who are more supportive of Rodgers than most at this moment in time. But I think himself needs to realise that from now until May, we can't keep getting away with games like that. And there's such a thing as tough wins. And last night, a result like that at Easter Road would probably be celebrated more if we were playing well amongst that. You know, if we were playing well week to week and then you get a big win and a struggle at Easter Road. But at the moment, we are going from game to game struggling. We struggled against Ross County. We struggled against Aberdeen. We dropped points. We struggled against Hibs. And if we keep struggling, we're going to drop more and more points while Rangers keep winning. This is the league table as it currently stands. And of course, Rangers now in a position where if they win their game in hand by a comfortable amount of goals, they will go top of the league. Which is a position that I don't think many Celtic fans would have pictured, a scenario that wasn't realistic to us if you go back to October time, November time, when we had an opportunity to kind of run away with this league title. We have tailed off, our performances haven't been good enough, and Hibs was another example last night of how this kind of brand of football that we're playing at the moment isn't going to take us very far. We've got a manager who's capable of changing that if the stubbornness in the system can be taken aside and we can start trying to build on positives. There hasn't been a lot of positives to build on. And it's not just, and listen, I'm not going to sit here and put all responsibility on the manager. And I think it's very unfair to do. A lot of people are. A lot of people are solely blaming Rodgers, and it's not the case. He does deserve a share of the responsibility and to take a bit of the blame. Absolutely. He's the manager at the end of the day. I looked at that team we played against Hibs last night at Easter Road, and I couldn't quite believe the side that we had to field. The position that the board have allowed us to be in going into what is now a title fight. And titles aren't handed out in February. Let's make one thing clear, they aren't. This is going to be a long road, and it's going to be one we have to focus on and concentrate on to the very, very end. Titles aren't handed out in February, but the fact that we are now in the nitty-gritty of things, and we have a back four which consists of Johnston, Welsh, Scales and Bernaby starting the game, is abhorrent. If we went to Easter Road last year under Ange Postecoglou and we went there without Jota, Starfelt, Moy, who else has left the club? A few big names injured. Hatate, who's injured. Cameron Carter-Vickers. Those 5 players in particular. If we went there without them last year, we would have struggled as much as we did last night. We might have played a bit better, nice in the eye, but we still would have struggled. There's a share of responsibility between, I think, the 3 major parties here, the board, the players and the manager. Because some players aren't playing well enough either. You look at someone like Leah Labada last night. He looks like a man convinced he's leaving the club. And I'm actually starting to wonder if he's been denied that move in January he maybe wanted. Because since he's came back, he's looked a shadow of himself. He's not the only one. It's not like I'm just targeting Leah Labada here. Too many players down in tools and not being good enough. Brendan Rodgers has to do more as a manager to get the best out of the players he's got, because even with those big absentees, you know, your Hitatis, your Vickers, your Jotas, your Moyes, all these players who are out and missing from our strongest side this point last year, you still need to do better with the squad you've got. It's still a squad that should be beating Hibs, should be beating Ross County, should be beating Aberdeen, should be beating every side in the league. He needs to get more out of the players he's got. He's got to play better football, but the players need to give themselves a good kick up the arse, quite bluntly. I think that everybody's underperforming at the minute. And even someone like Matt O'Reilly, who has been fantastic all season, he's allowed to have a rough patch. I'm not saying he's got to be perfect week in, week out, but he's someone who's tailed off in the last couple of games. And when players who have been very reliant on this season being our best players start to tail off, that's when problems start to arise. So right now, it's a bit of a mess everywhere. And morale isn't in the highest with the supporters. The celebrations last night at the end of the game were the celebrations of a side who know how massive a win it is and know how important a win it is. Going to the supporters and showing the appreciation. I love it. I love those scenes. Some people over-analysing certain players in those scenes. But that's the kind of passion I want to see on the park for 90 minutes. You know, the passion that they showed and the relief that they showed at the end of that 90 minutes yesterday at Easter Road. Channel that into your performances. Channel that into playing better throughout the entirety of the 90. And we won't need to worry about struggling towards a league title. We know we're a good side. We know we're a talented side. And God, I mean it, we're the best side in the country, obviously. We're just off the back of winning a bastard treble. So you can't deny that we are. But they aren't playing like it. So that relief that they showed at the end of the 90 minutes and the celebrations with the supporters, channel that relief into just celebration. We don't need to be ending games with relief. We should be playing better. And that starts with, you know, the very top of the club to the very bottom. But the manager needs to change things. The players need to get themselves a bit up the arse, and the board, well, the less said, the better. Brendan Rodgers obviously spoke after the game about the side's win, so we're going to have a look at his comments. Someone who is obviously finding himself under a bit of pressure at the minute from some Celtic supporters. It's a huge win, and I'm happy that we got it. Adamida deserves a huge amount of respect for taking penalties in the game under such pressure and only his first start for the club. Joe Hart, I thought, was brilliant as well. There's a couple of players last night who really did give us good performances and should be, you know, rewarded for that and should be praised for that. So many that aren't at the minute. So let's have a look at what Rodgers said about the game last night and what we do moving forward from here. Here's what the manager said about the overall performance last night. We had control in the first half and got a great start in the game so early. We had some good moments, but we just need to find that final pass or finesse to get through. In the second half, we didn't play great overall. I've got to be honest. Hibs deserve credit. They pressed us, and once we got through and we looked good, we were away, but we didn't make the last pass. Too many times, we ended up playing backwards, and you have to play forward. But the players showed the mentality of a champion, which is to keep going. We made offensive changes to win the game, and thankfully it paid off. Obviously Kyogo being the main change, he came on and ended up winning us that penalty late in the game. But the key thing about what Rodgers is saying here, and this is one of the things I want to touch on, is, you know, too many times we ended up playing backwards and you have to play forwards. But what I want to know is what is the communication at the club at the minute? What is the communication between the manager and the players? Because he's saying that we need to play forward more and we're playing backwards too much. But why are we doing that? Why are the players doing that? One thing it seems to me on the park right now, and this goes for defensively and offensively, I feel like there's just such a big part of indecision involved. We're so indecisive. We can't make our mind up what we want to do. Every player seems nervous to take a shot, make a pass, drive forward, pass it back. There's such a kind of feeling of indecision around everybody in the team at the minute. And that goes from the most experienced players to the younger players. I feel like it's the case with Callum McGregor. I feel like it's the case with Leah Labada. It doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter how long they've been at Celtic. You've seen it with Nicholas Kuhn as well. He had a couple of opportunities. There's one he danced in around the area, probably could have had a shot, took far too long, and we lost the ball. We lost possession. It was a great opportunity in the opposition's box. There's such indecision there. And why, if Rodgers is saying we need to play forward more, well, why for weeks have we been playing it back constantly and side to side and backwards? Why is that happening? Because if the manager doesn't want it happening, he's been vocal a few times after games about how disappointed he's been with performances. Remember that one game where he said he's never been so angry? If that's the case, why do we keep repeating the same performances, copy and paste, copy and paste? I want to know what the communication is at Lennoxtown. I want to know what's getting done on a daily basis, because some things just don't add up for me at the minute. So I hope that this is maybe a catalyst for Celtic to take the 3 points and see how important the 3 points are and try and improve now. And try and just give us better performances. I hope Brendan Rodgers realises what we're doing isn't working, because he is capable of giving us better. We've seen it firsthand. And some people will try to deny we've not had a good performance all season. Aye, we have. We've played well a number of times this season. We have. Some people will say we haven't. We have. Most recent example being the game against Rangers at Celtic Park. We played well and a good part of that game. You know, we looked all over Rangers, I thought, in that first half. We need to start playing like that more often. But right now it's been inconsistent, it's been indecisive, it's been painful to watch in the eye sometimes. So I want to know what's happening, I want to know what's going to change, because it needs to change between now and May. Very quickly, we should probably get an update on the 2 injuries from last night's game. Of course, Alistair Johnson was stretchered off the park with a big one, and I hope he's fine, I hope he's okay, and I hope he's recovering well. I wish him all the best, because it's a nasty one, it's a horror one, to be honest, which led to, of course, Celtic's first penalty. He took that big head knock. I won't play anything on screen or anything, because it's a bit sore, it's a bit tough to watch, isn't it? There has been no update on, you know, kind of length of injury, how long he'll be out. I don't expect him to be rushed back in for Sunday, I'm not going to lie, and just as well Tony Ralston had a good game last night, because that will help him going into Sunday. But he was taken to hospital, he was conscious when he left the pitch. He also shared this lovely image from his hospital bed last night as Celtic captured all 3 points. So it's good to see that he's, you know, enjoying himself. Brendan Rodgers did comment and he said the first penalty, maybe the referee's given it for a reckless challenge or collision, so we were thankful for that, but not thankful for Ali Johnson. He's away at hospital. Hopefully he'll be okay, and I'm hoping he is okay. Of course, I think that we know the character that we have in Alistair Johnson. It's not the first knock he's had to take, and hopefully he'll be fine. We also got an update on Stephen Welsh, who Brendan Rodgers commented on after the game, and said that he had to go off because tightness in his hamstring. So it looked kind of precautionary. Will he be rushed back on Sunday or whatever? We'll wait and see when Rodgers speaks to the press before that game on Friday afternoon. I suspect he might not be. And that's a chance to put some faith in Nawrowski at the weekend, who is, I think, entitled to a start. So, not lucky this season at all, has he, Stephen Welsh? And completely unlucky, in fact, with injuries. They just keep piling on for the boy. But, yeah, precautionary it looks for now. As I said, today's video was going to be more kind of raw than anything, because there isn't much news out there. And I always find that these days after the game are the hardest to talk about, just because you don't want to repeat yourself from what I said everything I had to about the game last night. And obviously I don't want to just sound like a broken record. So, you know, we've got a match on Sunday, a big match in the Cup. We need to win, we need to go through and kind of heighten our chances of taking the Scottish Cup home again this season. But we'll talk about all of that tomorrow, Saturday or whatever on the channel. So that about does it for today. Sorry, it's been kind of raw and rough and whatever. I was really hoping we'd have a podcast today, but we didn't. So, yeah. If you've enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.